Not many people realize this, but you know how they say in films, modern day films, they tell you the truth of the situation. Well, the truth of the situation is the people who write these films that we're seeing nowadays, the films, the TV shows, the shows like Walking Dead, the Avengers films, these comics, the DC comics, in all of these shows, there's always the protagonists, the heroes, and the heroes are always fighting some type of mindless entity, some type of crazy group of mindless drones or rabid, crazy creatures that are in mass and have a hive mind. If you take the first Avengers film, the Avengers are fighting an army called I think they were called the Jakari. And some of them had guns, but they were like these weird single shot rifles that were not fully automatic. They were like semi auto, and they moved slow, and it was so ridiculous. They actually had a guy who had a shield that was going around beating them up called Captain America. They had some idiot with a bow and arrow that somehow was able to outshoot people who had laser guns. These things had flying vehicles, and they still could not beat, I think it was like 5 or 6 Avengers. And like some of the local police, which were a non-factor. And the most interesting thing was this group of entities, these enemies, they all had a hive mind. Once they took out the brain, all these enemies died. All these enemies, believe it or not, they are you and me, according to the writers. You look at The Walking Dead, and the zombies are the masses. The zombies are the people, the idiots that have no brains, and all they want to do is eat. And they're so crazy they eat each other, and they want to eat people. You take the second Avengers film, I think it was called Age of Ultron, right? You had some kind of semi-intelligent robot that somehow managed to hack into the network. And this robot, rather than him do anything effective, what he decided to do is make a bunch of copies of himself, giving himself effectively the hive mind, and then go around and try to kill the Avengers as well as everybody else that wasn't, a part of its hive mind. And that's how we're viewed as people by the quote unquote elites, the secret societies. They think that they are the protagonists. They are the Captain Americas. They are the Hawkeyes. They are the Black Widows. And we are a hive mind, evil army that they have to crush. They are telling you what they're about. The reason why they want a one world currency is because they want us all to have a hive mind. The reason why they want a one world government is because they want us all to have a hive mind. They want us to all be of one mind and one heart, while they, being the heroes, can thwart us. They can beat us down. This is what we are shown in films. A lot of people see films for the so-called predictive programming, and they don't realize what it truly is they're being shown and who is who in these films. But that's the reality of what we're being shown. People who resist the madness of what we're being shown, the people who can see it, people who call it out, are usually looked at and regarded with suspicion. Okay? But the reality is, the shows and the programmings all have the same premise. And this is the reason why. Shows like Aliens, shows where They're like supposedly the best movies that they were ever made. There's always a recurring theme. The whole world's in danger, and the protagonists have to fight an army that is somehow defeated with one single move, and they all die. Networks, systems, digital economies, blockchains. These are going to be the tools that are used to control and destroy an entire civilization. And the majority of people cannot see it coming. Through finances, through money, what they're going to do is they're going to use this new currency, and they're going to implement something called an algorithm inside this money. And if you don't spend it by a certain time, it's going to self-delete. And if you do spend it, and you don't spend it on things that are allotted to you, you're going to be penalized for the next round of funds that are issued to you. This is not my opinion. This is what the people at this thing called the World Economic Forum have written about. This is what they're talking about. And this is what, not what they're trying to do. This is what they're doing. This is what's being done. I'm going to tell you right now, the people who are rebelling all across the world, those people, they're not truly rebelling. Because if this was a true rebellion, there would be a fight to the death. It would be one side killing the other side. It would be a mass battle. And that's not what we're being shown. We're showing people running around pushing each other and screaming at the top of their lungs and shooting bear mace at each other. Because it's not time yet. They don't want to truly come out and fight just yet. Because when the true fight begins, you're going to see robots. You're going to see things you've never even thought were real. There are people who live and breathe among you, who work at these military bases and have seen what's really going on behind the scenes. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these people, after so long, they wind up mysteriously going missing. But every so often, you may encounter one. And they may show you a picture, and they may tell you a story. And in that story, you're going to hear things you never thought were possible. And you're going to maybe be shown something that it's going to seem too crazy to be real. But isn't that the whole point of watching a film? Something to think about. Peace.